primary aim of abolitionism was the emancipation of all slaves and the cessation of racial discrimination and segregation. Although abolitionist sentiments had been strong during the American Revolution, abolitionists did not achieve the standing of an organized political movement until the 1830s. It was as a response to the social disruption of manufacturing and commerce that abolitionist ideas became increasingly prominent in the sermons of evangelists like Lyman Beecher, Nathaniel Taylor, Charles G. Finney, who used the massive religious revival meetings of the Second Great Awakening as occasions to denounce slavery and promote the moral significance of temperance, pacifism, women's rights. In 1831, supported by donations from free African Americans, William Lloyd Garrison gave abolitionists and their allies a venue for the propagation of the movement's deepest aims when he started the publication of The Liberator, which was destined to become the most famous abolitionist newspaper. Garrison radicalized the movement in December 1833 when he joined 60 other delegates of both genders, both races, in Philadelphia to found the American Anti-Slavery Society. The society's platform demanded the immediate, unconditional, universal emancipation of slaves. After the convention, Garrison denounced the Constitution itself as a covenant with death and an agreement with hell for its failure to out. And he ritualistically burned copies of the document at abolitionist meetings. In 1838, Ephraim Adams and 12 other members of Dartmouth's class of 1839, who called themselves the Anti-Slavery Apostles, announced the convening of the first anti-slavery meeting at the college. When the administration refused to permit them the use of any Dartmouth classroom or building, including the one we're in, they moved the gathering to the Dartmouth Hotel, now called the Hanover Inn, where the anti-slavery apostles delivered over two crucial motions. Motion 1 proposed that every person in the nation, North and South, who is not an open abolitionist is by his influence sustaining and perpetuating slavery and should be regarded by every friend of humanity as a virtual slaveholder. The second motion held that American slavery is a complication of the foulest crimes, robbery, adultery, man-stealing, murder, and should therefore be immediately and unconditionally abolished. The first motion lost by a small minority. The second motion carried by a large one. The fervor with which abolitionists promoted their cause would provoke an increasingly violent response, however. Anti-abolition riots broke out in cities across the Northeast, including New York, Philadelphia. Opponents of the movement disrupted anti-slavery meetings and burned mailbags containing abolitionist literature. In 1835, a Boston mob dragged Garrison out of an anti-slavery rally and nearly lynched him. That same year, the United States House of Representatives passed a gag rule that banned the congressional consideration of anti-slavery petitions that lasted from 1835 to 1844. Garrison's surprising insistence in 1840 on equal rights for women would split the American Anti-Slavery Society into separate wings. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony, other members of the Garrisonian wing of the movement organized the first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, New York, 1848. Frederick Douglass, who had joined Garrison on the abolitionist platform and published the narrative of his life as a slave under Garrison's auspices, broke with Garrison, following their disagreement over the role the Constitution should play in the abolition of slavery. Douglass subsequently founded a black abolitionist paper called the North Star. Garrison and his supporters would assert that it was the passage of the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery that made continuation of the anti-slavery society unnecessary. But remnants of his movement would advocate the passage of the 15th Amendment that extended male suffrage to African Americans. And that same group inspired the founding of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1909. Can you discern traces of what W.E.B. Du Bois called abolition democracy in the agitation on behalf of racial egalitarianism in the 21st century?